Well, it's obviously incredibly frustrating for people who live in an area where the broadband is still super slow. That is, unless you set up your own network, like Eric Malcolmson, who joins me now. Eric, as somebody who finds it very difficult to engage with the computer anyway, I cannot imagine what it's like setting up your own super broadband service. How did you do it?
Well, we first engaged the parish councils and local community groups. We then got the county councils to back us, and we approached the government for a grant, which we were successful in getting. So we got contractors in and basically ploughed fibre optic cables through all the fields between 6 villages.
So that's how you were also able to afford it, because you had got a grant in money?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We raised a lot of loans from local community people as well.
And what would it be like if you hadn't got it?
I think we would still be in the dark ages. People would probably have even left the area. We know of certain companies that certainly said that that would be the way. But now we have commercial and other facilities within the communities that allows us to have that good community relationship going.
Now, there'll probably be people watching thinking, God, I wish I could do that. But how would you advise them to set about it?
I think they could start by looking at our website, tovalley.com, and look at our library, and there are some documents in there that tells people how we did it. And I think then it's really a case of having the will to get off their backsides and do it for themselves.
Crisply put. I like that. Eric, thanks very much indeed. But what about the people who don't fancy setting up their own network? Can they be sure they'll get the fastest speeds that the government has promised? Well, Angela is about to find out. Angela.
Thanks, Julia, and that's because I've got with me here in the studio Ranulf Scarborough, who's from that part of BT that's responsible for rolling out faster broadband across the UK. Ranulf, I mean, that is an incredible story, but let me pick up on that point that Eric was making there at the very end. You are BT, an international company. You have millions of pounds worth of technology at your disposal, and you are being beaten at your own game by a group of locals. Why are you not able to do what they do?
Well, first of all, I'm full of admiration for communities that actually do go and try and solve the problem for themselves. But I think if we look at what those communities are doing, it's going to take a long time to bring these services across the UK if we leave it to
But you've had years.
Well, the good news is that already today in the UK, fibre is available to around 90% of the UK. And we're also working with government and with local bodies to bring that fibre to through local projects with an aspiration to get to 95%. So that's rolling out. The technology is improving all the time. I mean, BT is leading with many of these technologies, taking fibre into rural areas. Our engineers are coming up with new ways and new approaches. So I think we're on a journey. We've not announced the end of this. We're pushing fibre further and further into remote communities, and we're seeing how that has a tremendous impact on them.
But you see, you may be well doing that, but you're also spending an awful lot of your time, your money and your resources on ensuring that the country as a whole gets super fast broadband. Now, the majority of people in this country have got very adequate broadband speeds already. You seem to be leaving behind all of those people who have, what, 2 megabits if they're lucky? Why aren't you spending all of your resources on bringing everybody up to the same level before you start pushing ahead to get everybody to high speed?
Well, we are trying to get to the high speeds for as many people as possible. And we are already.
But you're not doing it quickly enough. I mean, you will know. You live in Cornwall. You will know that there are places, particularly in rural communities, in Cornwall, in Wales, in Scotland, in the Midlands, in the Lake District. Farmers these days, for instance, have to do so much of their work online, and they can't do it. They can't send in the details that they need to DEFRA because they don't have high-speed broadband. Why aren't you working harder and quicker to bring high-speed broadband to them?
Well, I do understand how difficult it is. I live in one of the 5% of Cornwall where I live that can't get fibre.
What's your speed?
I get about 1.5 meg.
There's a real kind of ironic justice in that, I think, isn't there?
Well, it does help me empathise with the frustration of people that can't get it. But I think you've got to recognise this is an enormous engineering project. It takes a huge resources and determination. The collaboration we get from local authorities and communities is key. You can't build this kind of network overnight. We've been on the journey since 2010. We've built to 2/3 of the UK with our own funding, jointly investing with government and local bodies. We're at 90% in the UK, and we're continuing to roll out. We're optimistic at helping the government hit its 217 target, and more technologies and more capabilities and more funding and more determination will continue to help us get it there.
Well,
now,
I have to tell you, there will
we've
be...
shown in the
I have
Isles
to
of
stop you
Scilly,
there,
for example.
unfortunately, because we're running out of time now. But there will be an awful lot of people watching this programme who will say, yeah, when? Just give me a date. But thank you very much indeed for that. Thank you. And I'm sure that there'll be an awful lot of you who will want to tell us about your broadband problems, because, as we said, we get more questions about that than anything else on the programme.
Now, broadband speeds were the main topic in the emails you sent us yesterday, and this one, sorry, I've brought my frog with me from home, as you've probably heard. This from Roderick Mather was typical. He said, the government has given a large sum of money to bring super-fast broadband to rural North Yorkshire. With a few exceptions, it's been spent on bringing super-fast broadband to, wait for it, urban North Yorkshire. Not a lot of use. Roderick reckons people in rural areas like him are considered the difficult 5%. He worries that's not going to change.
What about the expert who we had on the programme? He's in the 5% as well, so that's not a good omen.
Sweet irony.